Prophecy hidden in the electric mist. Garbled circuits in a tight knotted twist. Ethereum's heart pumping in the vein. Fastest, lightest like lightning through the brain. MPC whisper secrets in the code. Scaling mountains where no one has strode. DeFi wonders bloom in the cyber cloud. COTI Vive 2's beat makes the networks proud. Fastest system, light as air. Private roads going everywhere. Building futures in the stream. Layer 2 rides the blockchain dream. AI dances in the quantum glow. Scalable promises let the future show. Transactions flying faster than sight. COTI Vive 2's orbit in endless light. Silent power in the digital sea. Prophecy roaring for you and me. A revolution bound by the key. Garbled circuits set our minds free.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 15, season 2 of COTI Confidential. I'm with Soren, as always. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Great new song you put up.
So, yeah, there's a couple. I had trouble with some of the terminology that I got to mess with a little bit, but it's a bit of a banger. The breakdown there I really like. So. I scrambled to get it into the system before we went live. But I thought that was funny, that comment from Joshua. It's like, imagine thinking that I didn't have these. I have a ton.
You got a whole soundtrack.
And it's going to be the hardest mixtape you've ever heard.
You got a whole soundtrack of them.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and you know what? They're some of the best, I think, some of the best AI songs I've heard. Of course, I think that because I engineered them. But yeah. Anyways, what's up, guys? Welcome to the show. If you guys want to join the speakers, hop into the COTI Confidential Telegram. The link is posted there.
Please hop in and join us. It's a community meetup. It's not just for us.
So I'm struggling with not the greatest bandwidth again, so I'm not going to do tons of screen share today. But Soren, if you wanted to pull something up at some point, be my guest. We'll try it. It feels pretty good right now. It's not lagging or glitching on me, but I know if I start trying to do stuff, it's going to puke. So we'll just go like this. Lots to talk about today, though. We've got a nice little update.
Yeah, we did. And we're just going to keep it simple, buddy, so we can keep you... So we can keep you on and locked on and not lagging. So let's kick off. I mean, we will take today's news last, but
I'm here with the boys.
How many copies have you collected now?
Well, I got two. I like the McDonald's one. I think that's hilarious, right? We got the carrot one. We all know why that's funny. And then the boy got the watermelon.
Love it.
It's funny. I was here not that long ago, and there was no capybaras. Now they're everywhere. So,
yeah. Stephanus is on a plane there now, for sure.
Yep, probably. So we're going to do your weekly update, sir, and then jump into the USDC integration news, which is great.
We do.
Right? I love to see Carbon and Privex on there. That's wicked. And did you see, just before you get into it, did you see there's a little Easter egg in there about Jed? Did you see
I
it?
didn't.
I saw it.
I was going to ask you why you posted about Jed, because I know that wasn't a mistake.
Well, yeah, there's a little in parentheses. We'll comment about Jed, so Jed is coming.
Okay, but I haven't had time to read the Medium article yet, so but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just start with the weekly update. It was one of those where I thought I would focus a little bit on the utility of COTI as a token, because in the past, and it's really hard to argue any of it, that you couldn't do much with COTI other than hold it and stake it, which, to be honest, is the case in quite a lot of projects and ecosystems. But now we can do a lot more. We can design, mint, and launch NFT collections on Crafter, and we're seeing a lot of creative works coming already from community members with the Baby Turo, with the Quantum Fade, COTI Heroes and NFT agents. And I'm 100% sure there's a lot more to come. And I love it. We're seeing just an outburst of creativity from the community, from where I least expected. We can trade COTI and G-COTI on Carbon DeFi, and with today's news, that's going to be even more interesting, because we could, up until today, we've been able to trade COTI against G-COTI, or the other way around. Yeah. Now, probably already live, if not, it will be in the next day or two. You'll be able to trade COTI and G-COTI against USDC. Yeah, which makes a big difference. And of course, Carbon DeFi, we've done 2 webcasts with them now, where we've done walkthroughs through all the features that they have, and quite amazing stuff. And I love to get my teeth much deeper into all of that. So that's great. So we can now trade our tokens on our own network. So that's great. We can launch tokens. We can launch AI agents on dApps like COTI agents and Codex Chain. There's a lot more AI coming. And I've actually felt a little bit guilty when I wrote this particular paragraph, because we got so much AI in the ecosystem that I've probably done someone a disservice by not mentioning them here, because we do have a lot of AI. We can own and mint our own .COTI domain on the ZNS Connect. You just install the MetaMask Snap, and you can give your wallet a .COTI name instead of a long-winded wallet address. We can play and mine tokens on big money, and there's quite a few more of these mini games coming, for those who don't know. And some users in our community are taking this quite seriously, installing hundreds of miners and literally converting their houses to mining farms. So I think that's brilliant. I mean, there's one user in particular who runs about 250,000 transactions per day, I think. So I think that's cool. You can also kickstart or manage your career in Web3 with a UC Talent platform. It's worldwide, and it's available on a lot of chains outside of the COTI network. So you're not promoting yourself just to people within our own little bubble. It's actually much more widespread. And this is just the beginning. We are 1 month in. When I wrote this update, we were exactly to the hour 30 days in from our mainnet launch. Yeah. So put that into any kind of context you want. That's amazing. We're 1 month in, and we already got all this stuff going on, and obviously the COTI community are like bulls in a china shop with all this stuff, and so they should be. It's brilliant. So, it's absolutely amazing. So, in terms of utility, I don't think we can have too many gripes with what's there already. And up next, we got Treasury 2.0 with even more utility, nodes ecosystem, bespoke treasury models, multi-token staking, all that good stuff. We got another MetaMask snap allowing not just COTI users, but any user of MetaMask to avail of Garbled Circuits tech. You're just going to install the snap and onboard your wallet, and you're good to go. And so brilliant. And we got what else we got coming up? We got more integrations coming. I think Plume must be quite close now. COTI's been teasing them. They've been teasing us. They got a mainnet that was supposed to have launched 3 days ago, but right around the corner from what I can read. And Plume is obviously massive. And as with all these RWA platforms, they bring value on chain. And that we're going to talk a little bit about this because this is important in the context of USDC as well. So that was sort of the first half of the update. The second half is about Token 2049, where COTI will host the first RWA Summit, which is an invite-only roundtable event, where you're going to have influential leaders in the RWA space. I've seen sort of a list of 10, 15 people, and I recognized most of the names, so looks quite a hot ticket. Only 40 people will get in. It's literally in the second most prestigious venue in all of Dubai, so they've gone all out for this one. And of course, this is all about talking about the availability and the viability of the solutions for the RWA unlock. Everyone knows where the hurdles are, and we understand very clearly that the solutions are there. It's that bit in the middle that's the tricky bit, making the people who are actually involved in moving the money, making them aware that it's there and having them test it and be comfortable with it. Because this is the thing, when you talk trillions of dollars, this sort of money doesn't move easily. It doesn't look for the next shiny thing and just moves. It moves very slowly and with zero risk. So unless those big money managers are very, very comfortable that this is going to work, they're not going to move. They're not going to move an inch for it. Yeah, that's just the fact of life. So, of course, this is all about COTI putting themselves front and center of all this, driving the discussions and sort of being the thought leader when it comes to privacy and when it comes to unlocking the RWA market opportunity. I would not be surprised at all, also at Token 2049, to see 1 or 2 big announcements. I think we gotten off to a good start here with the USDC announcement. I think in my opinion, it's just my opinion, I don't know anything that others don't know. I think Alex is spot on when he says Treasury 2.0 will probably be launched during the event. I certainly hope so. And I would definitely not be surprised if the new CBDC partner will be launched, because I think it's all something to do with that area. My personal theory on this. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going on next week. I think it's going to be super exciting. And of course, while all of this is going on, the mainnet is just humming along, producing a new block every 5 seconds. I think we're at about 16 million transactions now. And we're running at about between 750,000 and 1 million transactions per day. And this number is just about to go, this will go up indefinitely. And again, we're 1 month in. So that was sort of the update for the week. It was a little bit of a long one, so my apologies for that. But I thought it's important just to highlight how far we've come in a month.
awesome update as always, man. I know we all appreciate that. And before we bring our speakers in, they're here, but before we introduce them, I just want to say, guys, if you could help us by sharing the room, retweet the live either on YouTube or right on X, it really helps us grow the channel. Thank you all for being here, and welcome back to people who we've seen here quite a bit. COTI Unity and I mostly on our own streams, but Alex Knott's often on COTI Confidential. So I'll say welcome, Stefan, COTI Unity. How's it going, sir?
Hello, I'm good. I thought I'd pop in again.
We're very delighted
That's
that
great.
both of you.
Good to see you.
Because I promised last time.
Yeah. And and Alex, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, Tracer. Thanks for having me up. When we get a minute, I've got a couple of questions.
Shoot.
Well, I noticed
this is
that. Yeah. So Ethereum is talking about now moving from the EVM to the RISC-V virtual machine, which is a huge move, and COTI just put all this effort into moving to the EVM. So, I'm wondering what the line of communication was between COTI and Ethereum, and basically, do you have any insight as to the impact of moving to RISC-V?
Well, the answer is, I'll give my answer. Tracer probably has a better one than me, Alex. But the answer from my side is we've not heard anything from the COTI team. And I would say that, I don't really understand exactly where the difference is going to be. I've tried to read up a little bit on it. But I think generally speaking, Ethereum doesn't think these things up on a Monday and launch them on Tuesday. So I think everyone will have a fair bit of time. And I think also mostly this is concerning L1s. It's sort of the L1 part of Ethereum, and maybe it will impact the L2 part. I'm not sure. As I said, technically that's a little bit too advanced for me.
I'm going to say, can you hear me? I'm going to say welcome to Noak, who's cycling somewhere.
Hey,
Welcome
Noak.
to the show, sir.
Yeah, good to be there. Just a little break, catch my breath. I'm cycling in Holland. You see the windmills?
We just need the tulips.
Not around here, sorry.
You're giving me Don Quixote vibes. Just don't go try and fight that windmill, okay?
I won't. But I didn't want to miss your get together, and so I thought I'd listen while riding the bike.
Excellent. We're glad
That's
that
very
you
cool,
joined
man.
us, mate.
Yeah.
Very cool. So Dave, I see you're trying to connect. Once you sort out your mic and camera privilege issues, we'll bring you up. I think COTI Unity is somebody who maybe we can ask what he thinks about what Alex Knotts was talking about there. I'm always scared to give my opinions when my professor is in the room. So I just like to listen and learn.
Yeah, well, as it has already been said, I also think that Ethereum is not announcing something on Monday and releasing it on Tuesday. So that's a long path ahead. And I've also read that it is planned to have to still support EVM contracts, so that both systems will be running parallelly. So will EVM and RISC-V, and Ethereum apparently is also planning to support other virtual machines. So COTI's work won't be for nothing when in 1, 2, 3 years Ethereum uses RISC-V. And I also think, but that's just my guess, I mean, there are a lot of EVM projects, and Ethereum would be stupid not to offer some kind of tool or support to enable those projects to migrate to RISC-V. And who knows what happens along the way, but everything EVM right now will still be running in, let's say, 5 years. So COTI still has the garbage circuit solution, which I also have been thinking a lot about, because Vitalik was talking about garbled circuits and using it for Ethereum as a layer 1, which would be quite interesting because COTI has the patent on it. So I think COTI is quite safe for the near future, and I think no effort in constructing V2 is lost because Ethereum is planning to implement RISC-V somewhere in the future.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because your comments on the Telegram group, Stefan, they sparked the usual. We had this debate about 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
About soda labs and COTI and garbled circuits and all this. So first of all, I'm not sure whether it's soda labs or COTI who has the patent for garbled circuits. One of them does. One of them has applied for it. Yeah, but actually, I think this whole thing, and I think a lot of people are worried about it. Don't be worried about it. This is an amazing commercial opportunity to bring garbled circuits out into make it even more mainstream. Yeah. So whether or not it has COTI's name directly attached to it, you don't know what's going on commercially in the background. And it is not a bad thing necessarily to get garbled circuits a lot more mainstream. Yeah. It doesn't mean COTI is giving up on anything or anything like that. Shahab's been doing this for a long time. He knows how to put commercial agreements together. He's not going to cannibalize his own baby. Of course he's not. So I think actually it's a good idea, and I don't think it's something people should be worried about. In fact, quite the opposite. They should be quite excited about it.
Yeah, and COTI really has quite the head start, because I'm not a patent expert, so I don't know who holds the patent, but COTI does have the exclusive rights to use this garbled circuit technology on EVM. So, and it's an international patent. So if somebody wants to use garbled circuits on EVM, you can only use it through COTI. As we talked about in Telegram, of course, it could be possible to find a different solution that uses garbled circuits. But given the fact that the garbled circuit theory has existed for 50 years, and it has taken so long to develop a solution that can be used in such a broad use case, it's not very likely that somebody else finds a new solution in a matter of a few months or years.
No, I mean, one day it's going to come, but you make a great point there that this thing has been around for 50 years. It's been used by banks, by the way, in a Web 1.5 world that they run their systems on. Banks have been using garbled circuits for a long time. So there's nothing new there. And you're absolutely, your point about there's no one going to come next month with something completely revolutionary. I don't know, but it would make sense to think like that. I can see why you'd think like that. So
how do you feel about that, Alex?
That's pretty good dialogue on that. Yeah, I respond to announcements, and the whole RISC-V. Yeah, the fact that it may actually take, they have a concept of an idea, and they're going to move a direction. So yeah, maybe it'll take quite a while before they actually develop out and implement a parallel or replacement solution. So yeah, thanks for that answer. I've got another question. This is a recycled one. Do we have a COTI Explorer yet? So, I'm a little bit allergic to big numbers, because we look at Solana and most of their transactions are not very meaningful. So I'm wondering, do we have a breakdown of the type or the nature of transactions that are going on at COTI? If we've got, whatever 100,000 per day, but what's the nature of those transactions? Are they DeFi? Are they internode communications? Do we know?
It's a good question, and actually, I think it's a good subject just to discuss for a little bit, because is transactions per day really that important? You could argue that it's more a vanity stat than anything else. We push it as well as everyone else does. We're not innocent in that regard, yeah. But what's really important is that the network can handle what's thrown at it, yeah. That's really what we should all be worried about. So when we're running at, today we're running at 780,000 transactions, and the network utilization, Alex, is 2.5%. So
Holy cow.
that's actually a bit more important, because that tells you that even though that we're running at 1 million transactions per day, the network is not by any means stretched at all. Yeah. Now back to your actual question, and I'll answer two questions in one that you didn't ask also. First of all, most of the transactions, I think probably half of the daily transactions, if not a little bit more, come from this sort of mini game thing that's going on with big money. They drive hundreds of transactions every day. Yeah. The second part is we often get asked, has COTI actually switched on garbled circuits? And the answer is yes, they have. But you have to go literally comb through every transaction, and you will see a number of them. And I don't know how many or how few, but you will see a number of them being garbled. So yes, it is switched on.
That sounds like an excellent job for an AI agent to look at the blockchain explorer and go through and summarize the number of actual garbled circuits. I've been playing around a little bit with vibe coding, so this is exactly something an AI agent should be doing.
I'm glad to hear that you've gotten into vibe coding. I'm desperately trying to find some time to do that. I got some.
It's priorities.
I think ideas, and I like to try and put them into practice. How are you finding that part of it?
Good. Actually, for anyone that's listening, the barrier to entry is much lower than you may imagine. You know, you go to your favorite LLM and you tell it to generate some Python code for an idea you have. You know, first ideate some kind of prompt and have it generate the prompt for you. Then ask it to make the Python code for that prompt. So it's all about the prompt engineering and getting a very specific request. Then you need to take that code and either download PyCharm, the community edition, Windsurf, or Cursor, and that will assist. That's a integrated development environment. And I'm talking a lot, but it's much easier than it sounds. Go dump that code into Python, PyCharm, Cursor, Windsurf, and then it'll run the code and you'll get an error. So you go plug that error back into your LLM and say, it gave me an error, update the code. And you just keep iterating until the dang thing works for you. And then sooner or later, you'll actually get a summary of, the number of garbled circuits running on Ethereum, the number of garbled circuit transactions. So I've got so many projects going on. I mean, I could add it to the list, but I'm trying to keep up with my own life. Yeah.
And you probably know this already, but for those who are out there vibe coding and maybe they're struggling a little bit, we do have on stay.coti.io weekly YouTube webcasts running where you can jump in and ask some our developers questions, and they can sort of jump into your project that you're trying to build and help you out and sort of get you over the hurdles that you may experience as you do this.
And all I'd want to see is, if there's an actual Explorer, just put that data into the Explorer, right? Because that's all we're really interested in is the data.
Yeah, I think Tracer has shared the link. It's mainnet.cotiscan.io, so it's there.
Okay, I got to go poke around, but once again, the list of priorities in life, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about this USDC announcement, and we need your Tracer and Alex and Unity. You guys are much smarter than me. What does this mean for our ecosystem? Why is this so important, other than the fact that we can now trade COTI against USDC on Carbon and soon Privex and who else?
It adds liquidity.
Right? But why is that important? So let's talk a little bit about. I'm being devil's advocate here, yeah.
Because so to play this
deal, my devil and want to know why is it? Why is it so good for us?
So let's say you're a lemonade stand and you've got $5 in your cash box, and a Rolls Royce rolls up and they want to buy $5 million worth of lemonade, and you're like, well, I can only make change for $5. That's it. So when the whales want to come in and start using the system in earnest, it's the USDC, it's the stable coins that actually enable the transactions that need the slush, the tide. When the tide comes in and out, you need to be able to fund that. So that's part of what it is. Tracer, maybe you have a better answer.
No, I was going to use a food service analogy as well, because I think that's the best. But if you go to a restaurant that only has one thing on the menu, that's the other way of looking at it, right? Well, if you don't want that one thing, how do you enable DeFi? No DeFi ecosystems exist without a rich, state of stablecoins, right? USDC, this bridged USDC is just the first of many. And I don't know if you caught it, but I saw them teasing that JED was coming. Unless I've misinterpreted what I read there, which I don't think I could have, and the cool thing is that we're not going to need, like COTI, like for instance, like with the Coinbase listing years ago, it was like a surprise, right? We didn't know it was going to be happening. All of a sudden, people might be plugging in their stable coins into our permissionless EVM. It's very exciting, and I think, when your ecosystem does the work to put the first one in, who knows what's going to be next. But yeah, it's like he said, it brings liquidity. It drives, it gives people a reason to use the system.
Yeah, because if you have your preferred stable coin, US, JED, USDM, USDC, USDT, if that's your preferred, and you go to the business and they don't accept that, they don't accept that credit card that you hold. So the more options you give, the more wider variety of customers you can serve.
That's so funny. I was going to use an American Express analogy too. You can't just only, offer Discover, right? Or you can't only offer these obscure things, right? And USDC is very well recognized. I think, in my head, USDT is probably the most recognizable stablecoin, on like an ERC20 stablecoin. And you look at how many chains it's gone across. Same thing with USDC now. We're lucky to have it, but I know Unity is just patiently waiting to put his input in here. So come on in.
I think because you said USDT, I'm very happy that it has become USDC. I know it was also announced because USDC is MiCA compliant, and there are a lot of COTI users and a lot of COTI investors in the European Union. And in the European Union, we can't have USDT anymore. So USDC is perfect for us for using the COTI ecosystem. So apart from that, I think having stablecoins is just part of a healthy ecosystem. And what I had to think of today is the day when COTI V2 was announced, because a lot of people were very suspicious that COTI was going to become a layer 2. But I think that the decision has proven correctly, because if COTI was still a proprietary system, we would not have a stable coin 4 weeks after mainnet launch. There are just so many things that are possible right now because COTI is EVM compatible, and having stable coins is one of them. And speaking of stable coins, what I'm very curious about is if the Treasury 2.0 launches soon. Because I remember the Treasury 2.0 white paper in which it said that you would be able to deposit stable coins into the Treasury as well. So I'm curious if the Treasury will support USDC.
And this is the light paper that you haven't seen officially, right?
No, I haven't seen. No, I haven't seen it because nobody sends me anything.
No, but you're right. I think it's all gonna gel into to one big beautiful little thing here. So I think all of you made great explanations on this. So we got a big DeFi component of our ecosystem. This is going to supercharge it. Mm-hmm. Who else in the ecosystem can have benefit from this? Can Jan and his boys from Crafter, how do they benefit from it? When they launch their own token?
Well, you need to be able to offer users something that is pegged to maybe not just the US dollar, but you need to be able to offer something that is pegged, right? So that they can tether up, or bad example, but they can, secure their gains, or just even for payments. Some people don't want to pay with volatile tokens, right? And, like we've been stuck in a range for so long, I wouldn't really call it that volatile, but you know what I mean, right? So if you look at Crafter right now, Crafter is a good example. They have a really nice widget where you can toggle back and forth from, what paying in USD is and what that means in COTI, right? Now, they could just very easily offer just simply pay with USDC, and you know what you're paying, instead of like today it's, depending on what it is, right? Some of the services they offer strictly in COTI, but if that changes, right, it's like 25 today, 50 tomorrow, who knows, right? You can just pay with USDC. It's like, especially when you want to talk about people, normies, we call them normies, right? Well, normies get scared in paying with things that fluctuate like crazy. It's like, I was going to pay for this 5 minutes ago, it was $11, now it's 12. Like, people don't love that, right? So stable coins are so important, and hopefully we're getting more and more. Who was talking about this last night? I think we were talking about this last night. There's been so many streams lately that I can't remember, but one of the biggest, turns for crypto is when we get clear regulation across the board on stable coins, and we'll just see the ecosystems flourish, right?
Yeah, and I think, when people like Crafter or COTI agents or whoever else it may be, when they start launching their own tokens on our ecosystem, and if they say they want to have them traded on Privex or Carbon DeFi or a third or fourth platform, this will make it a little bit more liquid for them to do so, right?
Look who we got in the comments here. Paul's back. Paul's been lurking. Paul's desperate for recognition.
We already gave him a lot. We already gave him a lot of this weekend. Does he want more?
Yeah. I think he should come and talk to us.
I think so.
Just come up here and talk to us.
Big
boy. Come on, big boy.
He should switch his video camera on and come and talk to us.
Yeah.
He probably won't, though.
What else we got going on? Was there anything else in your update, Soren, that he wanted to touch on?
No, it's just that I think there's a lot of stuff going to happen. Yeah, go on.
I want to talk about Quantum Fate because he's here and sounds like it's coming really soon. I know that's not why you're here, Unity, but come on. Tell us a little bit.
Are you here to plug your NFT collection, Unity?
No. But
if that's the case, please go ahead because it's lovely. And you've given Tracer and I a free one, so we.
Yes, Tracer, as you mentioned, have you seen the latest post? You should check.
I scrambled. I scrambled to get up here, and I needed to embed some files for this. So, wait, do I have a present somewhere?
You do?
I've been waiting for it. Okay.
And it's amazing.
Holy smokes. Where the hell is it? There it is. Wow. You're going to be able to see that? Strength.
Mm-hmm.
May you find courage, patience, and compassion as you overcome life's challenges. That's beautiful. I'm not going to read the other part of it, but thank you. Wow, man, really cool.
You really did some amazing work there, Unity. And I have to say, I've also seen some other bits this past week. I'm not allowed to say too much, but you guys are going to be absolutely, your heads are going to be scrambled when you see this stuff. People are really putting some proper efforts into it. And you as well, Stefan. So how's it going with that? When are you launching this?
Yeah, I have both NFT collections finished now. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I talked to our favorite French lady, Mila, and she suggested to add a little bit more text to every NFT. So I spent another 1 to 2 days making all files again, more than 5,000 files. But I've becoming much faster now because I've learned a little bit of Python while doing it. So that went better now. So I'm really excited to launch, but I still have to wait for our friend Mark to come back from his holiday, because we are launching our collection together with a big surprise. And he won't be back until the 1st or 2nd of May. So it's still a few days, but they are all ready to launch. I'm also waiting for one more update from Crafter, and then we're ready to go.
Excellent. And how many? So how many are you're launching 2 collections, right? And how many
Yes.
NFTs are in each?
So Quantum Fate has 5,555 NFTs. And the other one, Zodicraft, has also a little bit over 5,000. But we're going for a low minting price so that a lot of people have the chance to mint and to also mint more than one NFT. And there will also be some, in Quantum Fate, the NFTs have different rarities. And there, in both collections, there are some very rare NFTs that will have a special utility that we will reveal in the near future.
I remember that quiz you did recently. So when you start talking about utility, I know you got something really clever planned.
And maybe. We'll see.
And Jan says, I can give you an update. Crafter NFT marketplace is moving forward. I spoke to the devs during the week, and we're just working out a few kinks, and then we're ready to go. So,
amazing.
So I think we can promise on Jan's behalf, I think we can promise NFT marketplace next month, just like we said initially.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Jan will decide when it launches, but it's good that he's making progress on it.
Yeah. And I think that's really when the fun begins, when you can trade and sell NFTs as well. That's what I also had in mind with my NFT collections. For example, the second one, the Zodicraft NFT collection, it's more than 1,000 individual NFTs, and it's zodiac figures made of different materials. And so I think it's quite fun to collect them. So you can either collect all materials of a single zodiac, or you can collect all zodiacs of a single material. So that's quite some things to do. And NFT marketplace just makes NFTs when you can actually do something with them and trade them and sell them and everything. Yeah, so I'm very excited that Crafter develops so well, and they're just pumping out new features. And I'm also curious what the other features will be, because there are, on the website, there are still 2 features blurred out. I assume one is the marketplace, but there's also a 4th one. So we'll see. It's very exciting, I have to say.
This is Tracer's NFT we're showing on the screen now.
Yes.
Really cool.
So all the NFTs are
really
based on actual tarot cards, and it's a futuristic reimagination as we're in the age of AI and the future. So I thought this would be a cool idea. And in the metadata, there will also be information about the tarot card, and every NFT will have a blessing like this. Then may you find courage, patience, and compassion, and so on. So yeah, there will be different rarities. Some will be more common, and some will be very rare and very difficult to get.
Fantastic. I appreciate all the effort that you and everyone else is putting into this. I think this is by far the best part of having our own ecosystem up until today, is that you see all these things come out from people you never expected them to come from. And it's just absolutely amazing. And of course, USDC will be really nice to have in an NFT marketplace. In fact, it'd be quite difficult probably to do it without an NFT, without USDC.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you expecting, Stefan? What are you expecting next week from Token 2049? Other than, obviously, we know there's going to have this big roundtable with a bunch of big cheeses. What else are you expecting? Do you think we're going to have a couple of announcements other than that?
I mean, I'm very, very curious about the new CBDC partner. I mean, they've teased it a bit, and I think it could be time to reveal it. So, would be very interesting. I mean, there have been a lot of speculations about who it could be. So that would be great to see. Also, Treasury, it's about time for the Treasury migration. Would be great to have it on V2 now. And maybe another project reveal would be great. But as we've heard in the latest update, there are quite some things in the pipeline. So I'm really, really curious what awaits us next week.
I'm in agreement with you on the CBDC part. I think if you go through all the effort of setting up the Africa Tokenization Council,
right,
hiring such a high-class venue as the Burj Al Arab, inviting, have a strict invite, only 40 people event with some relatively big names, I think that'd be the perfect time to launch your next CBDC project. That's
absolutely.
just we are not here by chance. Yeah, and in case you all forgotten about our work with the Central Bank of Israel, here's another one. Yeah, so strategically, if it's possible, it doesn't all depend on COTI. It depends on whoever they're partnering with. But if it's at all possible, that would be absolutely the perfect time to drop that one on the markets. Teresa, you've been quiet for a while.
Yeah, like I struggle. I know that like when I start talking and try to start screen sharing is I lose all of you and your audio. So I go blind and for a little while there. So I've been trying to just not overload the system, so to speak. But again, Unity, man, it's beautiful. Like it's, and this is what I said, like 6 months ago, I think I said on COTI Confidential, COTI Connect, it was like, finally, we are going to have toys to play with. And after all these years of staking and compounding, we can finally like play with things, all day long, right? So NFTs are just one piece of this, but you look at some of the, of course, I'm super fond of the Carbon DeFi tools. I'm going to get to do an AMA with the Privix team soon. So they've got some super interesting stuff coming, and it's just going to be so nice to be able to, exist within our ecosystem and not have to go, everywhere else to play with these kinds of things. And it's going to be fun to slowly watch, tokens get listed on COTI and just start to crank the ecosystem up. I think that the rollout so far, some people criticize it, but to me, I think just slow and steady. This is the way it goes. Keep popping updates. People are coming, and it's happening. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah. But some of the Carbon DeFi tools, Unity. Have you watched any of those streams? Have you had time? Because there's some really neat stuff in there, and Privix has just as much stuff up their sleeves. So, it's gonna be really fun to play in DeFi and COTI, and I can't wait for it to catch.
Yeah, I've looked a bit at the trading strategies on Carbon DeFi, but I've not yet been able to have a closer look, but it looks very interesting.
I think it's important when we talk about utility, and just to pick up on what you just said, Teresa. The utility that I described in the weekly update, this is a utility within our own ecosystem. It's not going to drive up or down, for that matter, the value of COTI. Yeah, this is about us having things to do with our COTI within our own ecosystem, things that we were not able to do before. So it's a sort of internal utility, for lack of a better expression. The external utility, that is something completely different. That's where the price of COTI will go whichever way it goes. Yeah, and that's people using garbled circuits. That's central banks, big money managers, RWA, AI, all that stuff that we're signing up to partner with the ecosystem. So garbled circuits is the utility that drives that. Yeah. So it's two different kinds of utility. One doesn't really affect the price, the other one does. So just to clarify that.
it's like, being a Canadian and jumping in a car and driving over the border to go do some shopping at Target and stuff. Now we can just head to the general store, take a walk, right? And start playing with those same ecosystem tools that we never had before, and instead of, exchanging my Canadian currency for US, I can just use the stuff that, the rewards that I've compounded and stuff, and just watching that slowly happen, and then starting to see, like, again, we're going to talk about Bancor and Carbon, but just those communities merging, right? And Privex might bring some people from base, and then those communities will merge, right? And people who are like USDC tribalists for whatever reason, some people that like exists, right? And slowly our communities will merge, and it's just really fun to see. We've been talking about V2 for so long that it's really nice to be here. And like you said, it's just every 5 seconds. It's like price goes up, price goes down, but block. System doesn't care. System doesn't care about price, right?
And it's running at about 2.5% load. So I think it's safe to say there's plenty more. There's plenty more ammo in this particular rifle.
So you know what I say, right? It's why not us, man? Like, give me one reason. Why not us?
Yeah,
like, and I have faith in the team with what they're building, the partnerships they have in the pipeline, things that we don't know about. You know what I mean? Like, it's just constant updates, and we've become so hungry for it. It's like, you see in the Telegram sometimes, like, team's been quiet. Is anything happening? It's like, are you serious? Team's been quiet? Look at the size of Soren's updates. Team's been quiet. You guys are like, the entitlement is crazy, man. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. You know what?
And I think your first comment to the update this week was, imagine people not seeing this. Yeah, and I think that's why I wanted to also just clarify that the utility is twofold. You got the internal and the external utility. Yeah, because this is one of the things that the paint chip brigade will use. We got all these things, and the price is not moving. The price is still dumping. Yeah, well, fuck me, guys. It's not about that. Yeah, it really isn't about that. Yeah, the price can go whatever. It's got nothing to do with us printing NFTs. That really has nothing to do with the price of COTI. Yeah, new partnerships, more user garbage circuits in general. That will eventually drive the price, market sentiment, and switch from meme coins to utility coins, all that stuff.
I'd like to use an analogy here, because I witnessed this exact thing for the last it's been 3 years now, but for me, being in the ecosystem, it's been about 2.5 years. And so I watched Pudgy. If you don't know the full lore of the Pudgies, of like when they were minted, when they did the eggs, where the ROGs came, it's really a crazy story, right? They did a secondary, I don't know if you guys know this, but they did a secondary collection where they airdropped these eggs into everybody's wallet, and then they were going to reveal on Christmas Day. But instead of getting little Pudgies, they got things called ROGs. The metadata was written incorrectly. They were supposed to be Pudgy rods, right? Everybody got super upset. They spun up a secondary, a secondary collection that was like little Pudgies, right? It was kind of like a community takeover, but somebody bought it. And then, so what they started doing, right, is they started putting like all hands on deck, just building memes, getting GIFs on Giphy, and doing all these kinds of things where they would partner with Walmart, and they did toys and Target and Walgreens and etc. And the whole while, everybody's like, but what does this do for holders? What does this do for holders, right? And then there would be updates, Smith Toys in the UK, and just all this stuff. They were collaborating with everybody, and people were still going, what does this do for holders? Because nothing was happening, and all of a sudden it just got absolutely crazy. And this is a kind of, when you're talking about what you just said there, Soren, this is what I'm seeing in my head, right? It's like, well, what is COTI agents, and what does Carbon DeFi and Privex and et cetera, and et cetera, et cetera. We could go on and on and on. Crafter, the community-based products, UC talent. Yeah, but what does this do for holders? This is what happens, right? And then eventually it catches, and then it it gains steam, and it's like, holy crap, look what it's doing for holders. So that's what I see. I've lived it. And I'm in. I'm still as in as I ever was.
Yeah, no, and it's like I think my reply to you was something along the lines, and this is how I feel actually. It's equal amounts baffling and frustrating. Yeah, I'm baffled that people can't separate the two, and it's frustrating that we have to keep fighting this stuff. But of course, every ecosystem has its detractors, and we're not going to be anything different. And there's nothing that you or I or anyone else can say that's going to change the mind of the paint chip brigade. So we're going to have to all get used to living with each other. That's just the way it is. Yeah. But, to anyone listening, rest assured the team and everyone in and around the team are working super hard. It's literally non-stop. Yeah. I mean, Joshua must have come just off the plane from an event in, I think it was in Saigon or somewhere in Vietnam. And he literally just went home, picked up a new suitcase, and must have flown straight to Dubai for Token 2049. And that's been his life for quite a few months now. The only free week he has was when we were there. That was his only full week in Bangkok. So anyways, the team and everyone associated with it are working super hard, and that's why I put this thing out on Friday. Bloody hell! Look how much we gotten up and running already in a month, and we will revisit this in a month from now, and we will see how much we've added.
I know that we have COTI Connect, and it's an X space, and you don't see faces. It's not very personal. There's no screen share, but we have some accessibility to people like Joshua and Daniel, right? And it's great. And speaking to them at that level for the community is awesome. But when you get the opportunity as ambassadors or others to be in meetings with these guys, they're the real deal. They're passionate about what they do, and they're just so. They're brilliant dudes, right? And then take it to the next level where we got to sit with these guys, and it's just like these guys believe 100% in what they're doing. And I mean, a guy like Daniel and Joshua, I feel like they're like Web3 unicorns. You know what I mean? I feel like they could go anywhere. I really believe that. We are so lucky to have them. It's nice to have people who are at Shahaf's level. So I think, just the more that Soren and I and the ambassadors and people in the ecosystem are hearing from these guys, it's put, and I know the community doesn't have that same access. I get it. Mind you, they're way more accessible, in my opinion, than in many other ecosystems. But guys like these guys are the real deal. Like, you let them cook, man. Why not us? Just let these guys cook, man. They are all in. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, especially a guy like I've only met Daniel on a couple of occasions, yeah, and he's literally he's one of the smartest guys I've met, and the way he can talk about the COTI ecosystem, and you guys, I remember you guys were asking him all your toughest questions, and he was literally, it was like water off a duck's back, and he was literally, you could see it in his face. Is that the best you got? Amazing, yeah, but. Guys like Joshua with all his RWA connections, yeah. Don't forget where he came from and where he's still sort of very well connected, yeah, which is the largest RWA play in blockchain.
But you guys might be saying, like, yeah, there's a lot of brilliant people in crypto, and I think a lot of the most brilliant minds in the last 10 years. They're gravitating to the new shiny thing because crypto is kind of like, it's pretty cool to work in blockchain, right? The other difference about them is not only being accessible and brilliant and all in on what they're doing, is these two guys have this sort of modesty that, endears you to them, and they can just walk into any room and they will listen. You know what I mean? And there's some people that don't listen. You know what I mean? And they're just like, we're doing it this way because this is what makes sense. No, it's always like, what do you guys think? Like, we want even Guy, when you talk to Guy, right? Who's one of the development leads. He's like, we want your feedback. Like, up here, we're listening. Like, tell us what you're seeing. Like, what do we need to fix? Like, nothing is ever perfect until it's perfect. And it's never perfect, because that's what he said. He's like, I think it was Moshe that said too. It's like, well, is this a beta, or is this, it's always a beta, right? It's always a development. Things are always changing. When you guys talking about RISC-V, everything is in development. Anyways, I've said enough. I'd like to hear from Alex and Unity before we close this one off. We're at the hour.
It was just a fantastic chat. Thank you guys for hosting. It's always new information, and thanks for making the effort.
Not at all, Alex. And as always, much appreciate having you on the show, and your questions are always brilliant. So keep them coming, mate, and keep showing up, please.
I will do
Great
that. Thank you.
questions today, as always, man.
And to Unity, really, you're a brother from a different mother, so your family really, really do appreciate. And everyone who listened in and commented as we were going along, thank you everyone for showing up. And we will, I'll let Tracer close off the show, because he does that far better than I do.
So you got anything to say, Unity, before I cut you right off?
Yeah, looking forward to next week. I think there's a lot going on, a lot of big things coming, and yeah, looking forward.
That's the hour for us. And for some reason, episode 15 was a special one for me. I really appreciate you guys coming up, and it's nice to have more and more speakers. Sorry we couldn't get you up, Dave, but maybe next time. And Noak, thanks for popping in. That was pretty cool. But I said it a few times tonight, right? Why not us, right? We're trying to give you a little bit of insight. That's what we're here for, right? We're trying to share as much as we can with you every week. Soren's updates are unbelievable. To be able to elaborate on them for an hour, it's a really special thing. So I want to thank Atlast, aka on X, for everything he does, because he's always pumping my tires, but he's this really special guy, and we appreciate him. And on that note, I'm going to look through our comments here from coast to coast and around the world. This is COTI Confidential signing off. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
AI dances in the quantum glow. Scalable promises let the future show. Transactions flying faster than sight. Cotive UF2's orbit in endless light. Silent power in the digital sea. Privacy roaring for you and me. A revolution bound by the key. Garbled circuits set our minds